Hello, my name's Steve Kern. I'm continuing on with my Ironclads FLYERS video series on redesigning the USS Monitor and CSS Virginia and H.L. Huntley of the American Civil War to fit within the Ironclads FLYERS game system, which is a Space 1889 RPG universe game system. It's a tabletop. This is a role-playing game system, and this is a tabletop miniatures war game system featuring outer space warfare, outer space travel, atmospheric combat, and naval surface combat. Primary. It's an aero-naval game with outer space travel capabilities set in the Victorian age. The year 1890 is the year that Harvey Steele came out and made these warship designs from the 1840s to the 1889 obsolete. I pretty much got the data for the ship design rules for the Navy vessels done. I'm just going to try to pretty much I got all the data that's needed to design the ship, but I'm just going to try to expand the data sheet a little bit. Let's see what they have for ship forms. Okay, they have name, type, class, nationality, RAM, speed, hull size, target modifier, torpedoes, quick firing guns, machine guns, armor, hull, okay, and you got a diagram, place for it to do your ship diagram. Rule of the waves is pretty much similar to that. That has the similar setup. It's a video game system. Air naval warfare from basically the Victorian age all the way through World War II. They actually in 1965 now. They have aircraft carriers, and they also have and they do include missiles, which goes up to 1965, I believe. So let's see here. What do we have? Okay, in my site. I have to have my guys up like right here. Otherwise, in order for me to see, which is pretty close. It's about 9 inches away from my face. So, I have stigmatism, and I was physically assaulted in 18 March 2020. Guy was constantly concentrated on hitting my left eye, and my left eye shifts now, and I have permanent stigmatism. There was a time when I did not have. I was up close, around 9 inches, 6 to 9 inches. I didn't have any stigmatism. I now have permanent stigmatism as a result of that physical assault. Okay, displacement. We need that in here. Well, mass, that's total tonnage, which is oh, I forgot that I needed to clean this eraser. Okay. Oh, I need to put this on a protector and okay. Drafting technique. I learned how to do this in drafting class in high school. I need a 3D. I'm the creator of the Flower Child Project Man spacecraft design concept. Back in 2004, when I did my handouts, actually after around the time I did the handouts, I realized that I needed I don't have problems with seeing 3D images, looking at 2D images, like in drafting drawings, and still recognize it a 3D object. Also, was having issues with creating 3D objects with on a 2D application, like on 2D drawings, like with using a DeltaCAD, and I had KiCad too, DeltaCAD 3.0, and I had KiCad. I have no experience with, I have no training with computer-aided drafting applications like AutoCAD. I've seen AutoCAD on my trade school training. I did some trade school training on drafting, and I went from technical drafting to architectural because I was doing the same thing in my technical drafting classes I was doing in high school, so I switched to architecture. I did the same thing in college. I transferred from technical drawing to architectural drawing because I was doing I was wanting to learn new techniques and stuff, and was wanting to do the same thing I was doing for 3 years. So now, okay, the eraser is better. You don't have the black spot, so the smudge is not going to smudge anymore. Okay, so you see, no smudging. Okay. So we want, what else we want? We want nationality. And we want player. Okay, and we want ship class. Continuing on back. And on the back side, well, first of all, this is what the whole form looks like on the front. Okay, and this is what it looks like on the back. So, what I'm going to do, well, actually, the fourth line would be fiending. But what I can do is say, on the bottom line, do that. Okay, so we're going to knock that out and try to figure out what we're going to do with the listings. Okay. Okay. Come on, behave. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. These give you 20 years ago. Like as a 20-year, you can't do as a 40 or 50. I'm 60 years old, so I'm losing skills. Yeah, Whoopi Goldberg, when she was a comedian, she was talking about she used to be able, when she was 20 years old, she used to be able to roll marijuana with one hand. Now she can't do it. I've heard people talk about that before. I'm like, okay, that's a skill set. But, okay. A princess. Okay, we're going to get rid of, continued on back. Now, like I said, I've done this. Well, if you read the description on my videos, I have been doing this since the 1980s. And through the 2000s, not years. So I have like 3 or 4 different formats on this, and they all had we use the fourth line here, the X line, for some data before flipping over. So I don't know what I'm missing here, so I don't know what's going on there. But basically what I'm going to do, okay, so we have the primary, the primary turret, and the secondary turret. Okay, they organize actually the primary and secondary, but this is an example sheet, and I'm just trying to get all the data that I want and then put it in a more organized manner. Okay, so yeah, so normally what I do is the turret data is the last thing on here, the turret armor. So we have turret secondary, and we have what? The value. We have number. So that's the number of turrets that you can have on the ship. You have type, single or twin. Then you have a size. That's what would be the gun spacing. Then you have the turret weight. You have, wow, okay. This is going to have the weight of the turret. Then a total number of turrets you're going to have. Yeah, that's not going to work out. Okay. Okay, there's some magic going on. Okay, let's do this again. So instead of number, we're going to do maximum. And then we're going to do weight, and then we're going to do number, then we're going to do total weight. So secondary. So you can have, like, you have two, you can mix two types of turrets: centerline, corner turrets, and offset turrets. Okay. you can have you can mix two of them. You cannot have all three. So basically your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's your center line. Then this is your corner turrets. And then your offset turrets. They can also be offset like this. So you can have, okay, wait a minute. So there's better clarity there. Okay. So you can say that. You can do corner turrets with offset. You can corner turrets with offset. Okay. Okay, center line, corner, center line, offset, corner offset, corner offset. Okay. Get these back together. So they got 1, 2, 3A, 3B. So we got 1 combination, 2 combinations, and 3 combinations. Okay. So, like I said in the last video, you would have like 11-inch guns. And then these would be like 9-inch guns, for example. Wait, correction. The main guns would be right here, and then the corner guns or the offset guns would be 9 inches as an example for the 11-inch. Okay. So that's why we do it. That's why I have a secondary, primary, and secondary tallies on that. They did not. There was no tertiary main battery. Is my understanding, based on the studies, military technology research that I've done. I'm not a professional historian, unlike YouTuber Drakenfell. But based on my studies, from the 1840s to the 1870s, 1880s, actually, the 9-inch gun was basically considered a capital ship gun, or a battleship gun. and with Harvey Steele, with the arrival of Harvey Steele in 1890. 9-inch gun was not a battleship-sized gun. Was not classified as a battleship-sized gun anymore. That's my understanding. So 10-inch and higher was a battleship-sized gun. Then in 2000, 1900s, with the dreadnoughts, when I say 1902, 1906 dreadnought, HMS Dreadnought, there's the cruisers did end up with 11-inch guns. So your bigger cruisers used 11-inch guns, but by the time the Washington Treaty came out in 1922, 12-inch guns were obsolete as far as battleship. Nobody was making, after World War One, which ended in 1917, 1918, nobody was making 12-inch battleships. Battleships with 12-inch guns. And so the 12-inch gun kind of fell to the wayside in history until the United States made USS Hawaii and USS Guam. Alaska and Guam, sorry. So, and Drakenfell and I are at odds with the Alaska class being a battle cruiser. And one of the reasons why I consider Alaska a battle cruiser is because of the 12-inch guns. It's not, the 12-inch gun is not considered a battleship gun, but it's not a cruiser gun either. It's fell to the wayside from other cruisers, battle cruisers and stuff. So, it's as a battle cruiser, it does not follow the British tradition of battle cruiser designs. And the United States does not follow the British traditions when it comes to military tech. So, that's why I consider Alaska a battle cruiser. And the term battle cruiser within the naval military circles, it fell out of favor, and due to Battle of Jutland in World War One, it became a pariah. But in the 2000s, with game systems like World of Warships, Navy Field, Rule of the Waves, and Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts, battle cruisers as a concept for civilians like me, enthusiasts. Okay, I can't. There's words I can't say anymore. I got going speech therapy because I'm missing teeth and I got a broken face. Because enthusiasts like myself, battle cruise. The concept of the battle cruiser is, and is like a thing again. Um, Battleship, the YouTuber Battleship New Jersey. Yeah, the museum ship curator Ryan Zamaski. He does. He mentions battle cruisers a lot because people are talking to him about battle cruisers. But you know, um, so him and Drakenfell, when it comes to the concept of battle cruisers, it's the civilians like myself, more actually video gamers, with games of World of Warships, primary World of Warships, brought back the term battle cruisers. Mostly because the term battle cruiser was actually used for a time period between 1900 and 1922. The Washington Treaty of 1922 does not classify battle cruisers. The 1930 London Treaty does not classify battle cruisers. So, so the concept of battle cruisers was basically a ship design concept and not an actual military designation. After World War One. Turrets, primary. And it's because of that history, HMS Hood was constructed as a battleship, but was reclassified. It was constructed as a battle cruiser, but was reclassified as a battleship because within the treaty terminologies, there is no such thing as a battle cruiser. So, to fit the treaty terminology, which is the legal terminology, Hood was classified as a battleship. That's my take on the history. When it comes to naval refits and stuff, armor protection addition, I don't think HMS Hood had that, but I'm not a professional historian like Drakenfell, so I don't have all that kind of data. I've done some limited research, and I looked at some core data, and for example, I basically looked at ships at a certain era, and then I looked at their speeds, I looked at their tonnages, I looked at their gun sizes, see what was available, and the time periods, and okay, this is, and so I did that, but I did not have a thorough study of how many different refits the USS one went through, how many refits did the Hood go through, or and stuff like that. So my military history, understanding military, is very limited compared to Drakenfell's naval warfare, naval technology. However, I have a more thorough understanding of the evolution of military history from the Stone Age to the present day than what Drakenfell has. Drakenfell is focused on naval warfare. I've studied naval warfare, armored tanks, infantry weaponry, infantry uniforms. There's a girl, she does uniforms. She's really into German uniforms and Russian uniforms. She knows more about uniforms than what I do. I looked at uniforms and stuff, and equipment a little bit, but she's more thorough, and she's into fashion and stuff. So she's an expert in that field where I'm not. She's into uniforms the way Drakenfeller is into naval warships, basically. Although she is semi-specialized, Drakenfeller specializes in World War I and World War II warship designs, but he does delve into the 1800s warship designs a little bit because you have to. That's where the origins of World War I and World War II technology come from. And then you had the 1800s warships that was in the Battle of Jutland, and they were pretty much scrapped right away. Like, that's it. You're gone. So yeah, so I don't consider myself an expert on military tech, but when like YouTuber Shadowversity started talking military archaic weaponry, I've done some research on that. He's basically a RPGer, a LARPer. I'm not a LARPer. I don't have LARPing experience. So he does have some understanding of combat in terms of LARPing, which is not the same thing as real-life military combat. Basically, tabletop miniatures mechanics and RPG combat mechanics is what he works with. And so, how to explain combat scenarios, that's where he's at. And his take on RPG systems is, as far as I'm, with my experience with tabletop RPGs, is kind of wrong in certain areas. But again, I have a more thorough understanding of general from the Stone Age to the present day. And so I can look at modern day jets and see, okay, has these been around for, in the 1970s, 1980s? The AI YouTube generated YouTube videos concerning modern day jets, the terminologies that they're saying and the spellings that they're using, I can spot the errors right there, right away. It's like, this is AI in a snap. Flash, okay, 1 second, okay, that's AI data. I mean, it's so. I'm not an expert. I'm just familiar with stuff. Okay, so this is the name of the ship. Type of the ship. Okay, turret data. Value. Max. That's the maximum number of turrets a hull can have. The type of turret that it is. Size of the turret, which is gun space. Then you have the weight of the turret. Down the turret weight. Then you have the number of turrets you want to have. And then you have the total weight. Okay. Not all ships have turrets. These we're talking about warship designs. That goes back to 1840 or 1850, which would include paddle wheels, warship designs. So, okay, we got that taken care of, that taken care of. Bulkheads. Value. All size. Bulkhead weight. Battery. Again, this is not organized the way the on the this armor organizer is not how the armor is organized within the publication. This is organized based on the warship data arrangement that I've seen during my studies on warship designs, naval warship designs. I gotta say naval warships because out of space warfare. I'm Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong. When they walked on the moon, I was 3 years old. So I grew up, and because of the Apollo 11 mission was successful, I'm a hardcore believer in peaceful human presence in outer space and on other celestial bodies. And I became an outer space science fiction fan because I was wondering, okay, what are the things, what's possible, what's not possible, I just ate up anything outer space at that time. So at that time, Lost in Space, the original series, was in its second season. And I watched the second and third season. Kurt Russell was in the third season. I learned his name, so he's one of so I knew him from that. And then I saw him Escape from New York. He, I think, was one of the earliest ones I saw on his adult videos. I'm not familiar with his teenage videos, teenager movies, productions. So from there, then also my favorite Martian was this last season. The Prisoner, that was mom liked The Prisoner. That was a psycho mess. Was in its last season, which was, the Flintstones. The Wazoo, Kazoo, whatever that alien came on, was like, he came in as like, ruined the yes, Fred and Barney are stupid ass dudes, but and the Great Wazoo just used, just exploited their stupidity, like, people are like that, so, And I experienced that my entire life. So, but whatever. Yeah, so I grew up watching documentaries as a preteen and kindergarten through high school years. Well, actually, before I moved to Texas when I was 13, I watched a lot of space documentaries. I've seen a lot of videos, segments from space documentaries with Werner von Braun talking about space flight and rocketry from his World War II days, before World War II, during World War II, when he was before NASA, after World War II, but before NASA, during NASA, during the Apollo missions. So I grew up on Werner von Braun's videos. I saw this sci-fi movies during my preteen years. A lot of sci-fi movies, and a lot of rockets were variations of the one of Ron Braun's V2 rocket. They made a fighter version with a cockpit, and wings and a tail. And actually, there was a German rocket experimental fighter that was like that, but it's a lot shorter. But the space fighters had the same dimensions as the V2 rocket. You had full scale manned space rockets that were V2s scaled up in size, basically. And it was like then they came out with flying saucers, and then the Apollo missions came on, and then spaceship designs totally changed again, and you ended up with Battlestar Galactica. You ended up with Discovery on 2001. You had Valley Forge on Sonic Running, the Imperial Star Cruise and Star Destroyers, and Star Wars. You got Space Battleship Yamato, and then you got the Zedrati spaceships. You got SDF-1 from Robotech. And, yeah. So, I do use the term naval warships nowadays because I do think about outer space warfare. I do, which is, I have an ether flyer. I have aero flyer designs that I made back in the 1980s and 2000 time period. But that's not what this video series is about. This video series is strictly about naval warships. So, battery data, value, hull. Okay, I'm not going to do hull size because I have limited spacing. Turrets. That's the number of turrets that is on the ship. Size is the battery size. That you can have. Max is the number of maximum guns you can have per broadside. Total is the number of guns that are actually on your broadside. That's inside the battery. No, total is the size of the battery they're actually using. And the guns is the number of guns that are inside the battery. And then you have your battery weight. And see if I can squeeze that in there. So yeah, there's that. Okay. Then you have your deck armor. Value. Hull size. Hull weight, deck weight. Belt armor. Value. Armor type. And belt weight. And let's see here. Then you have your armor data. And then you have your total weight. And you have your total costs. Okay. Let's turn this down to horsepower. That's not a perk. So, coal bunker. Let's see here. Mass. That's the total weight. Total ship tonnage. I'm not going to use the term displacement, which actually would be the correct terminology here. Okay, total ship. When it gets low like that, I can't write very well, so and then this starts getting away. So Total ship tonnage. Let's see here, we're at, oh no, 55 minutes? Wow. Okay. Let's see here. How am I going to do this? Speed goes with propulsion. Hull size, length goes with hull size. Horsepower will go with propulsion. Nationality player class. Okay, I'm going to go with player on the top line. Princess. Daisy is the princess and not the queen, for multiple reasons. First of all, Daisy is the baby of the... Sandy here is the boss girl of the sisterhood. So, so she's the most laid back. She has always been laid back. She plunks down and stays there. What's wrong? Tazy is the most active in the daytime and at night. She likes to be outside a lot compared to Turtle. Turtle is a huntress. She hunts. She is the most successful at catching things. Baby rabbits, baby mice, mostly salamanders. They've caught a frog. They've caught a few baby snakes. Not very many. Roaches. Occasionally. There's a couple of tree roaches and stuff. We don't have really a roach problem. I'm out in Booneyville, 5 acres of property. So, okay, player, that's taken care of. And that's going to go on the back side. Been doing this since my high school years in 1983. Well, I started RPGing in 1980. I graduated from high school. Correction, 8th grade. And my brother and I went up to Kenosha, Wisconsin. I'm a 3rd generation Kenosian. And mom's family was up there in Kenosha. My dad's family is up in the Holloway area. And Holloway, Wisconsin. So, and Grandma Lass was talking about the Renaissance and stuff that was going on at that time. Gen Con, basically, it was in Lake Geneva. Gen Con had a thing, and you had people cosplaying and stuff. But at that time, I believe Gen Con was more of a Tabletop Miniatures Wargame convention and a Tabletop Roleplaying Game convention. Now, they may have had LARPing going on there, which is different from the Renaissance Festival thing. Although there may be some meshing between LARPers and the Renaissance people. I don't know about, I'm not sure how that went. There is similarities and there are differences between the Renaissance activities, the Renaissance people, and live action RPGers. Live action RPGers are basically using role-playing game system mechanics modified for live action activities. So, instead of rolling dice, there may be, there are, I don't know how that LARPing works, but then, like, AD&D, Gary Gygax's first edition, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons game system, it was designed as a tabletop role-playing game. Some of my high school companions, I started out in 1983, 84, and 85, 86, 83 through 86, did do some LARPing. And they were using, and they modified the AD&D system a little bit for the LARPing activities. So in 1980, we went up to Wisconsin, my brother and we missed Gen Con by 2 or 3 days, 1 or 2 days, I think. So there was a comic books game store. No, it was just a game store. They had a lot of tabletop games. They had a lot of role-playing games. And so, Grandma Lass bought us a Red Book rules. Which is the basic rules from the Red Book set. And they had a full set of basic, expert, companion, masters. There's 5 of them here. Basic, expert, companion, masters, and immortal. Okay. Yeah. Then, so she bought us the basic, and we came home. Mom was going to RPG us, be the game master for us. We were 12, 13 years old at the time. And so that never happened. In 1982, my brother and I, 1980, she cut out the game master section from the book. And in 1982, we got tired of waiting for Mom game mastering us, and so we got the rules back from her. That in itself was a miracle. But yeah, so we started RPGing, and then Tom, amongst ourselves, and then Tom's friends, some of Tom's friends were AD&D players, and introduced him to AD&D. And one of his friends came over, AD&D players came over, with a Fire Lord from the Native American mythology, which was in the Deities, and Demigods publication. And we got tired of him dominating our game, and so we walked. And he walked out, you know, like we're stupid or something. And, but then so we, and got involved in and advanced as group playing in AD&D. In 1984, Tom got out of it. I continued on, and I became a hardcore RPGer because I started creating my own campaigns. The Clone War campaign, which is the Dungeons & Dragons version of my AD&D Ancient Earth campaign. They're parallel universes, basically. Their differences based on the game system rules. And then in 1985, my brother and I decided to get a role-playing game, a science fiction adventure role-playing game where we can build our own spaceships. And so we looked around, we went to a game store in Victoria, we lived in Victoria, Texas at the time, and we got Traveler, which was copyright 1980, and a brand new set. You know, it was a brand new box, plastic wrapping and everything. And then we got Star Frontiers, and in '86 he got the Nighthawks version to Star Frontiers and gave it to me. And so I started thinking about the RPG campaign in which the Sword and Sorcery universe coexisted with the outer space science fiction universe. And again, I was an outer space science fiction fan because of Apollo 11. So I grew up on Battlestar Galactica, Star Blazers, Star Wars, Sonic Running, 2001 Space Odyssey. I watched a bunch of other, you know, Robotech. And then the 1940s and 1960s sci-fi, outer space sci-fi movies. So the idea and alienation, the movie and the TV series. So when I started RPGing in 83, 84 and 85, when I got the Traveler and Star Frontiers, I started thinking about how to, you know, not how to, but I was entertaining the idea of having a campaign setting, an interstellar setting, a campaign setting that was that was interstellar, like the Traveler universe and the Star Frontiers. But you had societies that was Stone Age societies and spaces. And actually, Traveler had game mechanics for that. You had low tech societies that had different, and you could do that with Traveler. You could create a star map, and then there are star systems that had that had worlds in which was a Stone Age society. You had worlds that were Earth society. You had I forget what his name is. The godlike entities, Tech 1, Level 1, Level 2, Level 3, Level 4 societies. You know. So you had, you know, that was possible with Traveler 1980. And was at that time I was not interested in meta genre game system, META. and because I thought they were broken. I didn't trust them. Then I moved to San Antonio in '86 and acquired additional game systems, BattleTech, Rollmaster, Space 1889, IRONCLADS, the FLYERS. What else did I get back in '86? Oh, I got the newer editions of Traveler, a Mega Traveler, Traveler 2300. I think there's another one, I think, that I can't think of. Yeah, I think there's another one that I couldn't get. Then, yeah, this is the Victoria Age. Oh, I got DC Heroes role-playing game. That's what I'm missing. And so after I got these different genres, because I like comic book superheroes. I was wanting to do a comic book superhero genre. I did back in Victoria, Texas, between '83 and well, actually between '84 and '86. I did the some of the people that I RPG'd with AD&D had Marvel Superheroes, the first edition with the 10 combat books. And I had 3 different characters from that game system. I like the character design process was interesting. I liked it and didn't like it at the same time. It's, but yeah, being familiar with the DC universe, comic book universe, being somewhat familiar with Marvel comic book universe, from TV series and stuff. I haven't read a few comic books growing up here and there. The game system was pretty good. Then when I came to Victoria, I bought the DC Heroes role-playing game because I'm more of a DC guy than a Marvel superhero guy, Marvel Comics guy. The mutant thing was, was a little bit too much for me, and when I came to Victoria, I moved to San Antonio, I was really set on the idea of the interstellar universe with different really hit me, and I was wanting to do a historical timeline using role-playing game systems for a game world. That was the original concept that I had. But you also recognize that different sort of star systems will have different so you go to, on an inside an interstellar universe, you may have a Stone Age society in one star system. You may have a starfaring society in another. You may have a spacefaring society, but that's not interstellar, but is interplanetary, or just not even interplanetary, like Earth. So those two concepts paralleled with each other between 1986 and 1990 when I lived in Heritage Apartments. And so the history of Clone World, the Mega Genera, MEGA, came into being in San Antonio, but its origins was really the D&D, the Clone War campaign, and the Ancient Earth campaign. I created those back in '84, specifically for studying. The idea was for me to research the origins of racism, human racism, using the RPG systems and trying to simulate, using the RPGs to simulate real life, the evolution of Earth. And then when it came to Victoria, moved to San Antonio and I acquired these additional RPG systems, different time zones. Each game system had each single genre represented a specific technological age within a species. So that became a thing for me within the history of the Clone World. But also the concept of different planets and stuff was also part of the history of Clone World campaign setting. And so IRONCLADS and FLYERS was part of that. Back in 1995, I acquired Traveler to New Era specifically for the campaign setting, the history of Clone Wars campaign setting. I bought the book Fire, Fusion, and Steel specifically to see if I was interested in the Traveler to New Era RPG system for the history of Clone World. I didn't really get to study it that much before it got stolen. I acquired Heroes. I was introduced to the Hero system, and back in '95, and I looked at that. It looked like an excellent game system. But as I was reading the rules and stuff, and I was playing with guys that introduced the game system to me, the game system was seriously broken. It was not designed to be a playable game system. So between 1995 and 2005, I tried to rewrite the Hero system to make it functionable. Also, what I was wanting to do was the Hero system separated the hero characters from the superhero characters. So, like, Sherlock Holmes would be different, would be in one campaign. Superman would be another campaign. Batman would be in the Sherlock Holmes campaign. But Batman can also be in the superhero campaign. And, Batman is like, I'm Batman. That Y2K stuff is stupid. The very how YouTube describes Batman is really messed up. But yeah, DC Heroes had a Batman rules. Had a separate rules for the Batman character. Subset. And I think they did come out with a Batman RPG system that was separate from the DC Heroes. I didn't mess with that. I had the first edition. I was entertained buying the second edition because Guy Gardner was in the second edition, and I was reading Guy Gardner comic books at that time. DC screwed over Guy Gardner and Hal Jordan big time. But you know, so I have a long history with RPG systems, and as a 6-year-old, I am an RPGer, tabletop RPGer. I just can't solo play. I'm a lousy player, and I'm a lousy game master. But yeah, and player. Armament. And this thing here. Weapon. Placement. Firing arc. Weight. Costs. Okay. And then on the bottom, armament costs. Now, you're getting the idea. If you watch this video, from watching this video and watching the last video, I am not going to be following the sequence the Naval Vessel Design sequence as listed in the book. I'm going to be skipping around the different setups. I'm going to jump around this, but I will be following the rules, but the sequence is not going to be as listed in the book. The sequence will be different. And when you're first doing and I did that with Battletech, second edition. The Battletech that I bought back in the 1980s was second edition. Third edition, when third edition came out, they introduced clans, and so the MechWarrior video game series is based on the original MechWarrior video game series was based on the third edition Battletech. So I don't know what Battletech version is out now. So let's see here. Player. Nationality. Let's go with nationality. and class. So let's see here. First and foremost, the most important thing is hull size. And from the hull size, we get what? Length, ram weight, and hull cost. And then we go with length. Mass. You need the mass number for the game system. Total ship tonnage. Oops, just knocking out the stuff. Okay. So let's see here. Propulsion. Engine size. Engine type. Engine weight. And engine costs. Oh, okay, that's the circles I did on the turret arrangements. Okay, engine costs. So propulsion's gone. Then we want horsepower. And so they want speed. Movement. Speed would be the knots and the ship's knots, and movement would be the movement allowance for the game system. And then we do the calculations on that. Engine size. Ship weight. PW. Speed. Hull size. And then knots. So that's taken care of. And what's left is coal bunker size. Oh. And there's total cost too. Okay. That's why I like working with pencil. I don't use ink unless I actually have to. Clear. So the question is, where do I want to put that total cost? Do I want to put it here, or do I want to put it there? Okay, so this coal bunker. Bunker size. Bunker weight. Engine size. Endurance. You need to do the bunker weight and then engine size to find endurance. So that's why I didn't, and I forgot to put, that was a mistake on my part of there. So that's done. Smudging's occurring again. This eraser is old. This is, it's a Mars eraser. It's a very good eraser. The Mars brand is a very good brand. This thing got chewed up by a critter. This thing's probably like 20 years old, 10, 20 years old. I actually have erasers from my high school years. Somewhere in my, I got 3 pencil drawers. I got a pencil drawer next to this table here. There's a pencil drawer over there. And I got a pencil drawer in my storage unit. And I even have those erasers that you put on the back on the pens, pencils. I have some of those left from my high school years. And I think I bought some in the 2000 knot years too. I bought a collection in the 1990s and 2000 knot years. So, okay, speed. That would be knots. And then movement is the movement rate. And then we'll go with engine size. Ship weight. PW. Speed. Hull size. I am glad I'm not Asian. I would not be able to write in that writing style. That I do not have the articulate skills to do that kind of writing, the calligraphy. There we go, the horsepower. So, I would not be a scribe. I make too many, even the European scribe, I would not be, I would be fired from any writing activities, horsepower. Because I am not consistent, and plus they would try to have me write right-handed, and I can't write right-handed for the life of me. So now we got propulsion. And I was read this back in my high school years. I'm like, nope. And I have my own writing style. If you read my texts on my videos, if you read any of my YouTube comments, replies, if you read any of my Flower Child project, or if you read anything on my Facebook page, notes sections before it got removed, I have my own writing style, horsepower, and that's propulsion. Which I started developing back in 1984. Actually, even in first grade, when I was in first grade, I was using mathematical symbols, the parentheses, the braces, and the brackets in my literary writings. And in elementary school, and they were perfect. I used them perfectly in my elementary school writings. All the way up to 6th grade. And then from 6th grade to 9th grade, that writing style went out of favor. Then in 9th grade, then in my high school years, I started re-implementing them a little bit, and they got so I started trying to modify the rules a little bit. So they started getting used again, and so I started working on the rules on that. Then stopped. Then their usage kind of stopped. Then in 1984, I started. I was writing letters. I've been writing letters to newspapers, news magazines, and TV stations back in the 1980s. Back in 8th grade, 8th, 9th grade, and so I was writing a lot of letters. I also, during my high school years, was starting to write a lot of essays concerning my RPG systems and stuff. So like 1983, 1984 actually would be start of that. And so I've always been, since I was 1st grade, I've been wanting to be a literary novelist. And in 5th grade, I intentionally installed writer's block on myself. And I have not been able to break that writer's block. And to a degree, I do not want to break it, but in recent years I do. But the Firefly RPG system I think would be an excellent format for me to break my writer's block. But I've got the RPG system, the books I got for the Firefly are felt covered books. And I really don't want to open those books up to wreck them. I want to keep them in good shape. And you see what condition this is in. This is, that's how my RPG, they get wrecked out. And I did not want to wreck out my Firefly RPG books. So, halfway, yes, that's my life. Half this way, half pro, half con. There is no, it's all split. There's There's no more this way, more that way. It's all half this, half that. There's no 75%, 80% either way. Engine size. Even at age 60, that applies. So, engine type. Engine weight. Engine costs. Okay. So, mass and total ship tonnage. Length. Hull size. Okay, and hull size is what? Length. Ram. Ram weight. All costs. And then class. Which is more important, ship costs or nationality? I think ship costs is more important. So we're going to knock out nationality and move it down. Total. Okay, because I want it 0.123, comma 123, comma 0 lira. Okay. So that's good enough. So my ship designs did hit the $1 mark. Now I do the 0.00 because I'm American, but also to designate that's the end of the price. It's of the cost. There is no cents or shillings. What is the other thing that they have? Pounds, shillings, and pennies. Is that it? I forget. I'm not really that. Now, back in my high school years, I could have said that. I would know all that. But and back when I bought this in the 1980s and 1990s, I could have said, I'm not sure now. Don't use it, you lose it. I'm 60 years old. My brain's going bye-bye. So, whatever. And that's the layout. So that's the format I'm going to be using for my naval vessel designs. And we have that. That's the front page and that's the back page. And so we have everything you need to design a naval warship within this game. So that's it for this video. Now to do next video would be actual ship designs.